Welcome back to another episode of Evil Kitty Music Presents. Oh, the intro already played? My bad. So welcome back. Thank you for tuning back in. Today, I thought I would do something that hopefully will benefit most of you out there, assuming that you're some kind of a musician or interested in becoming a musician. When I used to teach guitar lessons, which wasn't very often, one of the most important lessons I would teach was on pentatonic scales. No, I'm just kidding. So the number one way people get better at playing is by playing with people better than they are. It forces you out of your comfort level and it forces you to learn quicker and be better. But that gets really hard if you don't have anybody around you, or if you're an introvert, or we have this thing called COVID that keeps us all sequestered and unable to go out and play with other people in the same room. So how do you overcome that and get better? One tool I use, let me preface this by saying this isn't sponsored. I'm not receiving a dime for this. This is just something I do. While I am fortunate enough to be able to either record my own stuff and, currently I'm working on a couple albums that hopefully will be out in the near future. Maybe not so near future, but we're working on them. And hopefully we'll get them out to you, and they're going to kick ass and be awesome. But sometimes I want to do more. Sometimes I want to explore different genres, different styles. Don't want to do it myself. So I seek out somebody who's already doing it and just try to contribute to that myself. One way I do that is a website called Kompoz. And I'm going to take you through Kompoz because it's really interesting. And it's good for people of all levels. So let me just quickly go over what Kompoz is. Kompoz is a website that you can sign up for free. And it's a forum with other musicians where people post parts of a song, ideas of a song, almost whole songs, and ask for other musicians' help to be able to contribute to their song to make it a whole. So generally what I do is go look for tracks that need guitar so that I can just worry about a guitar part and not have to write and compose and mix and master and do all the work involved in songwriting and recording. So what I'm going to do is log on to Kompoz, and I'm going to search for rock and see what comes up, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. But really what I want to search for is guitar, because what I want to look for is a piece of music that's missing guitar and something that I can contribute on. And I had done this before, so I'm just going to go find something I had already found before. And here is Big Barry and the Boys. This is an interesting track. Let me play a little bit of it for you. And this is a track where they have a drums and a bass and singing, and just look for guitar. So let's listen to it for a second. While I stare at this hole in the wall. Okay, so we get a sense of it, and it kind of has a vibe that I dig. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and download a copy of this track to my computer. And then what I'm going to do is import that track into my DAW, or recording tool platform, whatever you want to call it. I use GarageBand. There's a lot of others out there depending on what kind of computer you're using. There's free ones, there's paid ones. Whatever you have are fine. It'll work fine. So I'm just going to import that track. And then what I'm going to do is just do some stereo guitar parts. So to start, what I'll do is just kind of jam over it a little bit to kind of get a sense of the chord structure. Sometimes you'll be lucky and in the description, they'll provide you what chords they're using. Other times you just have the track and you're going to have to figure it out for yourself. So really depending on what it is. And for this particular track, I listened to it a bunch of times, jammed over it, and came up with a few different guitar parts I wanted to use. What I heard, so it comes in on the chorus section, which is just the... Then it would go to a light guitar, which we'll do in a second. Okay, I figure you need that kind of dynamic. And then as I kind of come back, I want to build it back up with the electric guitar. So I'm going to do something like... And what I'm doing is I'm ending it on that A7, kind of used the Van Halen method that I don't know if I've talked about this before, but it's an interesting way he does it, where you're playing the open A and then just barring the next 3 notes on the 5th fret and just get that. Then it goes back into the chorus. Now coming out of the chorus, it has a little section meant for some kind of a guitar solo, but it's short. So what I wanted to do is something that's controlled. I wanted it to sound like I want to break out, but I'm not going to. I'm going to kind of toy with the listener and do something like a... It's a very kind of restrained piece. And then what that's going to do is it's going to build up, because after the next chorus, the whole outro of the song is going to be just an unbridled solo. So that's kind of the heavy. And then what I do is I'm going to double up that heavy guitar with a heavier tone. What I'm using here is just what I used last episode with the EVH Stealth, and I'm using the VH2, which is pretty much what I used all last video. What made this song is even cooler is that I'm using the drop D. So I'm getting to use that the detune function of this guitar, which I'm loving, and it just sounds awesome. So you get that. And then you just double it up, except without the kind of leady section. So it's just the... And the last part I heard was a light guitar. So I'm going to go back to my other handy dandy setting, which is the slash clean. And then I'm going to go into that middle position, so it's the neck and the bridge pickup. So what I'm just doing is basically a D to a G to that A. Except what I'm doing is... And that's kind of that power chord to the suspended chord, which is a very Eddie Van Halen trait, right? You hear it in Unchained with the... or in the Panama riff with the... So it's ironic that I'm doing it on this guitar, but I'm doing it in a very different way. Instead of doing it with that heavy riff, I'm doing it that light sound. So it's the... And then as you're going into that chorus, I'm just doubling up what I'm doing on the heavy guitar. So the... And that's it. So essentially it's 3 stereo guitars, and of course ending on that kind of a big solo. And what I'm going to do is, after I record it, I'm going to do a mix down of the overall track, and then I'm going to mix down each individual part. I'm just going to solo it and export it, solo it and export it. So it'll be 7 total tracks. And then what I do is I'm going to go back into Kompoz, and I'm simply going to upload the tracks so that the user who posted them has the ability to hear them and use them. Now, they may not use your tracks, and that's fine. As a matter of fact, if you're more of a novice and you're not looking to really have them use your parts, that's okay too, because simply by downloading it, it gives you tracks to practice over. It gives you a chance to kind of explore writing on your own and getting this kind of palette that you get to add yourself to and play over and experiment with leads, experiment with different rhythms, experiment with different tones, and play around, and it lets you practice. And because it's being presented to you as kind of a musical package, most likely they're pretty good musicians doing it, and you can find tracks that suit you, or look and find things that challenge you in different styles. So that's a good way to practice if you don't have a band ready-made. And if you're proud of your tracks and you love them and you want to upload them back into Kompoz to see if somebody wants to use them, that's great. If not, that's great too. It's just a practice tool. So any level you're at, whether you're learning, this is a great tool, again, to learn, to start writing yourself. Or if you're an advanced player, more like myself, and you're just bored and want to go out there and lend yourself for free to somebody else's work to get it out there, that's cool too. Now, I did look up this band. I couldn't find them online, and I think these tracks were actually posted like 7 years ago, so I'm not even sure if they're still together. But if they are, cool. Go ahead and use the parts. I'd love to be a part of the music. I think they have another track on there too, so maybe another episode I'll go in and out and I'll try that one out too. But hopefully that you'll find this useful. This is something that anybody can do from their privacy of their home, and it'll let you, quote unquote, play with others and practice your trade and practice your craft without judgment. So hopefully you like that. I'm going to leave a link to this particular track because since I did upload my mix, I think you're able to download it as a user. So if you want a copy of the mix with my guitars in it, feel free to kind of go in and download it yourself and add it to your collection. I'm always happy to be on your iPhone or iPod or iTunes or however you listen to music. And with that, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're an artist and you've done something on Kompoz and you want me to listen to it, put that in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the track that I added to here on Kompoz. Let me know if you liked it or not, or if you would have done something different. And if you want to do something different, you know what? Go ahead and post your own mix on top of mine on their site, and I'll check it out, and maybe you come up with something better than I did. That'd be pretty cool. And until we meet again, rock on.